here we go. I just made that up. I wasn't working on it. So
That's
look at us.
original.
We're all being very festive today. Happy holidays, guys. How are you?
Happy
Good.
holidays.
Nice to see you, Tony. Happy holidays, everybody.
Good to see you guys.
Today's just the regular, good old fashioned roundtable to talk about the hobby itself and what's going on, what's happening, what's to come, what's been going on with you guys.
Not too much. We're under lockdown here up in TO, so a lot of time to sort of get on eBay and see what's going on. A couple of things that we can get started with if you just want to sort
Sure,
of
yeah, let's start with something.
to chat about things. Obviously, the finest product came out this week.
What do you guys think of that?
Well, you know, the Chrome product and the finest product, they're higher quality. I should start by saying that I normally get my sets after you guys because I'm up here in Toronto. It takes longer to get stuff shipped up here, and I'm more like Zan. I don't buy cards because my problem is that I'm after the set and all the chase cards in one go if I can get them. So I have suppliers, right? Like you guys would buy from bigger suppliers, and they normally know what I'm after. But I have a bunch of different ones, and it all depends on how many cases guys buy. Like one guy will save some for me, but he might not have enough to give me all the sets and he's got to charge me more. So my problem is with some of this stuff is I don't physically see the product, right? I get it after you guys, and then I want to get it up here, film it, and put it on the site for pricing. But quite often I'm behind on that. So I'm just going on sort of what people are saying on Twitter and looking at some early reads. It seems like this product will be a little less expensive than the Undisputed. The autos are right in line, you know, 70, 80 bucks for good stuff.
What's good stuff out of this?
I mean, like a parallel version of
okay, so low. So we're talking the typical low print numbers.
Yeah, like if you know, I can see Rhea Ripley's big on this one. There's a Tegan Knox on this one. Bray is doing well in all these releases. So so that's going to be fun for the hobby. I think this will be the last release of the year, obviously, and then in January more stuff. So that's what's going on new in the hobby world. Obviously, AEW is going to be coming next year, and
I wish we knew like a roundabout date. I would imagine probably springtime, maybe early summer.
No idea, but you know, so that was a nice release.
Now I'm seeing in this finest release too. I haven't seen any pop up on eBay yet, so I don't know if any's been pulled yet or not. But I know the Fiend has his first autograph in this one. He's got several from his gray.
I've seen one on eBay, Chuck, and it was over $100 when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
So it's out there.
I think
is that a low number one or just a standard autograph?
It was a parallel. I can't remember what degree it was, but
because Chuck told me there's like 9 levels of parallels in this thing.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like again, if you're a guy that likes to do your rainbows, then you're gonna have fun with this one.
Oh sure.
You know.
I still haven't picked up a box yet.
I broke 2 boxes and couldn't even get a full set out of 2 boxes.
I'm going to pick up a box this week, actually.
That's why I can't buy boxes, because let's just say, Chuck, I bought even 3 boxes. I might not end up with a full master set out of those 3 boxes.
No.
So for me, it's got to be, I've got to find.
No, it's not that you might not, you will not.
Will not. And I've got my suppliers, nobody up here in Canada, everyone's down in the States, and they know every release, and I check in with all of them, and how many cases did you buy? And then I got to wait and see how they make out, because sometimes I'll get lucky, and my guy in upstate New York, he'll have more than enough that he can do a good price for me. But sometimes, and that's what happened on the Undisputed. I couldn't get a master set for less than $120, which is
a master or just a base set?
No, a base and the inserts. So if there's 1, 2, 3 chase sets, now that doesn't include Walmart stuff or Target stuff that's rare, or that doesn't include the base variants or the short printed stuff, but just the standard.
You're not talking about parallels. You're just talking about the standard base.
Standard base and the 2 or 3
gotcha.
Insert sets. Because honestly, Tony, that's all I've been collecting really over the last 5 years, just to keep up, is to get the base set, get an example, then at least when I do the listing for it for the price guide, I can say, okay, this is what the stuff looks like. But it seems like that this product is right in line price wise, and it's going to be a popular one.
The 2020 is going to be my last year of really big opening the boxes, box breaks. I think I'm going to go your route, Tony. I'm just going to start buying on the secondary market, getting the base set, and because the prices, although they were good on this set, they're still a little high for me.
It just doesn't make sense. I think
so the finest box prices are kind of in line with Chrome, are they not?
Yes, they are. Yeah, or they were on my end, because I have a pretty good local dealer who gives me a pretty good break on it. So I had about the same on each. I'm
gonna pick up a box this week. I was offered a box for $80,
which is good. You might get lucky. I got lucky on the break. you might get lucky on the break, but if you're looking to put a complete master set, meaning the insert sets and the bases, then you've got to do it the way I've been doing it. I think
I'm not
Zan
really
mentioned
looking
on
to
your
collect
last
any of the
podcast, he
base
does
sets
it
of any kind at all. I'll be honest with you. I haven't collected a base set in years. So
yeah, and that's all I do. So I think
I'm just opening
Zan
product
mentioned
just
on
for,
your
I'm
last,
opening product for content, to provide content, and I'll scan it all, you know, any
right,
special inserts I get, and then I'm going to get rid of it, however means I can get rid of it. So like I
on your
just took
last,
the stuff I got from Undisputed and the stuff I got from Chrome. I just put my lots together. I'm sending it all into PSA. I just might as well.
perfect. On your last podcast, I think Zan mentioned he does it the same way, that it's difficult to buy boxes now, open them, break
Correct.
them, and he doesn't rip. I don't either, because I end up short that way. So
I
I've got to
only
try and
rip.
find the guy that's done the ripping for me, and
Yeah.
is going to give me a price on the entire set.
And I only rip just because, again, for content right now. Otherwise I wouldn't. I mean, the last time I actually ripped on a regular basis because I bought cases, and it made sense for me
Right.
to buy. I was buying cases. I was hitting good stuff when I bought cases, was the Fleer products. That was it.
Yes, and then the cost justifies, right?
Yeah, the
But
cost
other ones,
justified. I mean, you pull
exactly.
you know, a Trish number to 5 autograph swatch card and you sell it for $1,600. It paid for my case plus profit, you know.
Yeah. So I've got a second thing I want to talk about,
Sure.
which is kind of interesting, and it's not something that you know, because of the price site, we can sort of and when you guys get your site up and
Yep.
running, when you go to WordPress, when you and David go to WordPress, you can have the opportunity to run analytics, and I think we talked about this before.
Yep.
You can kind of see who's going to what page, who's looking at what, who's spending the most time where, how many sessions, et cetera, and it's usually the same thing. People go to the newer stuff, the newer
Sure.
top releases. Obviously, the All-Star is always popular,
Yep.
but you know what's been popular lately?
What?
Had more video looks and more visits to the site than any other combined. And it's weird, and I can't explain it. And it's 91 WCW Impels.
Really?
Yeah, and
I
it's a
would
weird one.
never guess that.
No, me neither. So I went on last night and I went to see, okay, are they rare? Because you remember, Tony, back in the day, they were everywhere.
I've got boxes still sitting around.
Everyone does. Now there's one guy that's slabbing them because there's so many of them and putting
Yeah.
them at numbers, like is taking the flares and just taking the stings
Sure.
and slapping them and saying, hey, I want $300. But you can still buy a set for like $15. So I'm curious as to, I don't have the answer, but I can just report that for whatever reason on the videos and on it's the most looked at set on my site at the moment. And I can't explain to you why.
That's really weird. I should go back and check, 'cause I can check the analytics on even though our site is still on the old server and it's still there. I can't even update it. That's my problem about getting this stuff
Once
done
you
for the
get to
donations.
WordPress, all those problems get solved for you. It's wonderful because you can
Well, the
check.
reason why I can't update is because the as I was telling Chuckster yesterday, I think, is that our page builder program is so outdated. It doesn't allow us to go ahead and make any updates unless I can physically go in the code and do it, which I can do, but I'm so outdated with my coding knowledge. I have to go back and re-educate myself. But if I want to use a new page building tool, it wants me to overwrite everything else and lose everything else. But I already have everything saved. Everything's already saved. I don't care. So I could lose the whole site right now and I still have it all backed up.
Paul, I'm glad you brought up the Impel set because we've talked about that on several past episodes, and everybody talks about how mass produced it is, and it is. But one thing nobody has ever mentioned, and it was a set that I was thinking about this morning, actually, when we get preparing for this. Nobody ever mentions the Sting hologram.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a big deal. I mean, I remember when it first came out, I had a heck of a time getting a hold of it, and I don't see hardly any of them.
And I probably have at least 7 or 8 of those laying around.
I'll tell you what else, guys, what I dug up this morning. Here's something you don't find that often, which is the actual binder.
Yep, that too.
I don't have that.
Do you have it, Chuck? It's actually called the Stomp Collection.
It's so weird because you're using the virtual backgrounds like that, it blends in, you can't see it.
Oh, you can't really see it? Oh,
Hold it up in front of you. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So and when you open it up, you know, like that's the one thing that I think is rare, that you don't see the binders hardly at all. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Only binder I have is the red classic binder.
Right.
Like back in the early 90s.
I can find them. I think they sort of set off the set.
Yeah, I like those. I have the binder for that one as well. And then I have the blue and the red classic binder and the Superstars binder from Comic Images, SmackDown binder from Comic Images. All those. I was always, again, that's part of being the completist back in those days was, get the binder to go with it too. Yeah, and it was kind of cool when you go out, if you really, really, really want to try and go out, is trying to find all the Comic Images binders that had the different uncut sheets in there.
Right. But something's going
on. I
have
the Danbury Mint binders too. I have the old WWF and the WCW or WWE binder for the Danbury because they changed over.
I was going to say something's going on with the impels with this set. Like there's a push on them.
It's weird that the impel would get the.
Collectors are looking at them more than excuse me, more than any other old set at the moment. And
It's
I can't
weird that
explain why.
they're getting a look, but not championship marketing.
No.
Same year.
Yeah, just the impels in particular. And the weird thing to me was that they were always around. They were never scarce. That's why it's odd to me now that this set in particular, like even if you can go on to my YouTube site, which is just where I keep the videos for the wrestling, and you can sort of organize them by which ones are most popular. So you can see,
Sure.
And it's gotten more, but specifically on the analytics, I can't explain to you, Tony.
Yeah, it's weird.
A lot of people researching that site at the moment or finding out about it or what have you. So that's the next, I don't want to say the next big one, but if you don't have a set, get one.
Yeah.
I have it sitting right here beside me. I was just flipping through it to see if there's somebody in there that might all of a sudden have become popular, but I don't see anybody really.
Well, no, it's not. Wonderama's a Sting rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not even a Sting rookie. So I don't know. I just thought that would be an interesting thing to mention.
Yeah. What's your second highest set looking at?
All Stars. All Stars.
Yeah, I figured that would be
normally number one. The All Stars is what happens is that people look for the most recent stuff, right? So I'm gonna get a lot of people looking at Chrome from this year, looking at WrestleMania from this year, looking at Undisputed. I've already had a few people say, "Hey, where's Finest?" And that's the point I was making earlier. Then unfortunately, I get my cards last. So by the time I get a set, by the time it clears duty, I get it here, I get it in the book, I film it, I do a price, like the next set's already out. That's where. It's,
it's fascinating to me that Impel seems to be getting a good look, but championship marketing does not.
No,
that's weird. Really weird, actually. And then the championship marketing has nothing special about it either. There's no binder for it, but there's definitely promo cards and.
Yeah. Now the third thing I have on my list,
sure.
I'll just keep it going because I just made a few things I want to discuss.
Go for it.
I just wanted to chat about, first of all, these videos, how fucking great they've been. Thank you again for everything that you've done bringing us all together. The one in particular.
Well, you wait. There's more cool stuff coming.
Nice. The one that I really, really liked, I have to say thank you again, is to you and to Adam Gelman for the digital one. And I'll tell you why that the digital cards one was really appealing to me. It's because I didn't know anything about them. And you remember? You remember when we were chatting, we were like scratching our heads going, what is it with these kinds of cards and why are people doing it?
Cards.
Yeah, exactly. And Gelman was absolutely the right guy. Because
he was 100% the right guy. And I was very.
Not only he knows that world, but he's well versed in our world as well. He knows the
of course.
Side.
Oh, yeah.
He knows the physical side as well. So here we've got a guy that understands it. And when he sort of explained that, look at it more as entertainment as a game, then it kind of dawned on me. I'll tell you guys a quick story. In the 90s, I used to run a company that manufactured CDs and cassettes. I would make records for bands all across the country. And I remember clear as day, it was like 95, 96. I was at a computer trade show and someone played me something called an MP3. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is digital. There's no physical media. And it sounds better than a cassette, not quite a CD. And I knew at that moment, my business was finished. The business of audio duplicating and making 1,000 CDs and cassettes was gone. And it's kind of like that. If you think about it, that music, we went from physical formats and then we went to the digital format of MP3s, right? Now, fast forward to the last few years and streaming has come on board. Now, streaming is exactly like Topps because you don't own anything anymore.
Correct.
So we've got owning the physical product to not having it all, but still appreciate it. And the young kids, they don't know about physical product. They just want to get the music. But the interesting thing to me is that the rise of vinyl happened at the exact same time as streaming started to come.
Of course.
So it shows you, and it's almost analogous to the cards I was thinking. And then when Adam explained it, it's like, I get it. It's exactly the same sort of transition. This younger generation, they think of things differently.
Of course.
We want a physical card.
What's a record, Dad?
Yeah, exactly. But given the fact that I stream now, I still do MP3s, and obviously I have my collection.
Sure.
So that's the way it is with cards. And I thought that discussion was really good. I was
really pleased with how that turned out, and how he explained. You're 100%. He was the right guy to have on for that because he knew every little intricate detail about it. It's like that, and it made sense.
Yes, and we were kind of thumbing our nose at it, and I was trying to figure out, well, what is this? This just doesn't make sense at all.
I still thumb my nose at it, but at least I know what it is now.
Well, I appreciate it more because of the way that you guys sort of explained it, the way he sort of laid it out and said, look, you have to take a different stance on this and say, don't look at it as something like investing. And we've talked about this on these podcasts before, the different types of collecting. There's Chuck and I at one end that are archivists and are completists or base set guys and trying to pull it all together. Then there's guys at the other end that are buying the same set over and over again, getting them graded and sort of cornering the market on those.
Sure.
And then there's guys like you and Anthony in between that buy and keep and buy and keep. So there's a whole spectrum. That's why I wanted to make sure that I wasn't sort of oblivious to the whole digital thing. And now I get it. So
I just thought I wanted to learn more about it. I thought it was educational for people to understand what it was. It's like that. I didn't understand as a card collector myself. I didn't understand it. So now I do. And I still kind of thumb my nose to it.
What are your thoughts on that? Just because you and I have been so entrenched in the physical world for all these years, 30 years of collecting actual cards. What are your thoughts on the Topps Slam stuff?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm like you. I just kept seeing them show up on eBay, and I had no clue as to what they were about. And when I realized I couldn't hold a physical card in my hand, I just completely ignored them. Had no interest at all in even looking at them. And I'm like you. Once I saw the video that we did here, or that Tony did with that gentleman, I'm like you. It's like, oh wow, now I understand. I still am not fond of it, and I'm still not going to go after it. But now I know what it's about. So
I think it's a perfect analogy you made there, Paul. Is that it is very reminiscent of, the old digital stuff, like when MP3s came out, kind of replaced the DVDs like that. We had streaming site. Yeah, it's the perfect thing.
Yeah,
it's a perfect analogy just like that. But old school guys, I don't even know if it's going to take off for even kids. I don't know if kids even. Maybe that's the answer for what it is when I'm starting to do that segment about why wrestling fans don't collect trading cards. And maybe that's probably it. Maybe that could be part of a tie-in. I don't know.
Yeah, and the younger generation, they're buying these things and they're enjoying them. And I think the secret is to not look at it the same way we look at the physical card. Like
sure.
to have a different perspective on it and say it's just like something completely different, but there's a market for it, obviously. And then when I thought of it in terms of what happened to me with MV3s and not making audio cassettes anymore, it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't get into the collecting end of it till I was almost in my early 20s. I didn't watch wrestling as a kid. I didn't watch it till I got in my late teens, early 20s. And that's when I got out working retail and started seeing all this wrestling stuff available, figures, magazines, cards, that I really got into it. My first set I bought was the 87 Topps, which is one of my top 2 favorite sets. That's just kind of one of my favorites. And I guess the reason I collect the older stuff now is because once I got used to the current stars, I thought, wow, I'm really enjoying this. I wonder what the earlier years had. So I started doing research and, what card sets were released before 87? Who were the wrestlers that were popular before 87? And I still, to this day, will take a day or two out of the month and I'll just pull out a binder or two from my collection, flip through it. Oh, I forgot I had this. Oh, I forgot I had that. Oh, that's so cool. I remember when so-and-so did this. And that is just, to me, the enjoyment of collecting, is just the nostalgia and the history, learning the history. There are so many kids these days now that are starting to get into the wrestling that I don't think they know who the true trailblazers of wrestling were. They just see the current product and that's it. I'd love to get them into the cards. And that's why I'm so glad these podcasts or YouTube channel shows are doing so well, because I hope people say, oh, wow, I heard them talk about this card or that card. I want to see what it really looks like, what the set looks like.
That's why I respect, there's a kid I follow called Brody the Kid. I follow on Twitter, it's like that. And he does his daily rips. And I like his agenda, which is to get more kids, to collect cards. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be baseball, basketball, football, whatever. And he occasionally does some wrestling on there once in a while. But I like that. I wish more kids would get into it. I mean, they're into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and all other stuff. I mean, why not wrestling cards?
I've been getting requests for the older stuff. And in the last month, I've gone back and I've put in some of the really early stuff. I don't have any of it personally. I don't have any of the Ogdens or the early Ginter. But I was getting emails. Hey, how come you don't go before 1950? And I said, to be honest with you, I could do, but I'm going to have to go back and learn this stuff and find images and da-da-da-da. And I've done that. And people are digging it,
Yeah.
So they do appreciate it. And that kind of ties into the fourth thing I want to mention about getting into the vintage and old stuff. Anybody that's watching these videos, you got to get yourself onto Twitter, because the three of us just joined August, the three of us.
Yeah, August for me.
We're lucky in this wrestling hobby that we're actually not a hobby, we're a kingdom. We have a wrestling card king. And that gentleman's name is Rob England. I've never had opportunity to deal with him other than through here.
Yeah.
He has the most amazing wrestling card collection out there, bar none.
Yeah.
And he's doing us all a very solid favor by putting him out there. And I can't believe some of the stuff. He's gone out there and he's chased autographs from all around the world, and it's just phenomenal. So I just wanted to make sure that anybody that's watching these videos, if you want to see physical examples of cards, every couple of days, I'll put out something that I think is interesting. Tony, you're good every day with whose birthday it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's good though, because what we're doing is we're just keeping wrestling front and center. And I think that was one of our ideas when you started this video. And I said, hey, Tony, this is great, because as there's a spike in collecting in general, we want to make sure that wrestling is up there. Now,
Yeah,
Rob,
I just got a couple of Frank Gotch postcards from Rob England this week, and they are just amazing from early 1900s. And yeah, because I remember Gotch and Hackenschmidt had that big feud going on back in the early 1900s, and I don't have either of those in my collection. He was kind enough to give me a couple of that, or not give me, I bought them from him. And I'm tickled to have those in my collection.
There's a series called the Max Rigout postcards that I didn't know anything about until a couple of weeks ago. And I discovered them. There's a site actually called Pre-War Cards, which is fantastic. And they do not just wrestling, but anything. And that's a great resource because as you know, a lot of the early wrestling stuff wasn't dedicated wrestling. It was combined. You'd have a few
combined with boxing and acting and all kind of other stuff.
Exactly. Right. And Pre-War Cards is an excellent site. If you're interested in the, the early stuff, well, let's call it vintage. And for our purposes, I guess vintage is anything before 1980.
Yeah. I got a few cards from the early 1900s, and my oldest is from 1888.
Yeah,
so I got to check it out.
The Allen and Ginter, and there was 5 wrestlers there, and
they're
not that rare, to be honest, but it's just nice to see that stuff. But yeah, my last point was that when we're talking about the vintage stuff and the earlier stuff, there's no one like Rob insofar as what he has available, what he's done. It's just a phenomenal collection. So
yeah, I asked him for when I did the birthday shout out for Kurt Angle. So I said, hey, can you send me a nice image of one of your Olympic cards like that to use like that?
The Olympic and the amateur stuff as well. Like I don't know anybody. Like I know Chuck and I are amongst a handful of guys that have been there since day one, collecting everything along the way. Sure. But what Rob's done specifically with the vintage stuff, specifically with the going out to the problem with getting actual wrestlers autographs, and I know wrestling card, not you, but the other guy on Twitter that he goes and gets a lot of wrestling as well. It's hard to authenticate, right?
Yeah.
So unless you can really dedicate yourself to it. But for Rob, this is obviously a labor of love, and I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
He just started a Twitter account. He's really been posting some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he got. I think he got kind of pressured into it because all of us jumped on Twitter and so I started doing it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that someone nudged him because that stuff needs to be seen, not just by us, not by us, the crazy collectors, by everybody. And it's shout out to you, Rob. Thank you for putting that stuff out there and letting us all see it. I'm like a kid in the candy store every time you make a post.
Yeah. But it's always like, oh, hey, let me show you my other card I got.
yeah. Just when you think that,
Yeah, he can't one up himself, can he? And he does.
He does every time. Well, last night he posted something of the Sheik, and I replied, oh, when I was a kid, Chuck, unlike you, I got taken to wrestling by my father when I was really little. My father was East Indian, and there was a local guy up here named Tiger Jeet Singh. And he was like a folk hero amongst the Indians in Toronto. And back in the day, in the 70s, when he would wrestle at the Maple Leaf Gardens, third of the place would be Indian, just to see Tiger Jeet Singh. But that was when the Sheik had his run. And I was like 9 years old. My dad first took me to see the Sheik. And I don't think in all these years, there's ever been a heel as good as him, honestly. He was just, and he was middle-aged. Ed Farhat was middle-aged at that point. I think he was Italian, but he did the shtick so good. He had 16,000 people, and that was back in the days of the old ladies with the umbrellas. It wasn't kids. I was rare to be a kid at that time. But this guy was a heck of a performer. So anyways, I texted Rob to say, oh, thanks for posting this very rare Sheik card. I appreciate it because I was a big fan of his. And he says, oh, and I've got the Boyd Pierce postcard as well with a photo card.
Wow.
Of course he does.
Of course he does. So if you're into this stuff, I mean, it's great that Tony's made these videos available for us, and Chuck and I have the price site up. You can check anything at any given time, and we like to post stuff on Twitter as well. But if you're into the early stuff, or if you're into the amateur stuff, there's nothing like it. Check it out.
It's amazing. It's like that. So you guys already pretty much covered one of my topics like that. I already had stuff here talk about get to know our guests, but you guys have already kind of did that. Well, I got into wrestling back then, so You just took away. I'm throwing this away. I don't need
Why
it
don't
anymore.
Why don't you tell us a bit about you, Tony? We know about you. We know that you're a com collect, but
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
tell
that's
us
from
about
way
Tony
back.
Bella before the wrestling world.
Well, I got into wrestling in '85. I mean, I was working at a liquor store at the time, a liquor slash deli. That's what allowed me to work there because they sold food. And a guy came in and brought in the packs of gums and all the candy stuff, and then he brought in a box of GPK and a
Right.
box of wrestling, like that. And I go, hey, Hulk Hogan. I know Hulk Hogan. My grandparents took me. I used to go watch Andre the Giant wrestle, because I go to the LA Coliseums like that, or the LA Sports Auditorium, and watch Andre, wrestle 4 or 5 midgets, and just get to see all these guys back then. Freddie Blassie, Lou Albano, those guys come through, and I was a wrestling fan since I was probably 5 years old, though. My grandparents would watch especially my grandmother would watch wrestling on Channel 56 at Telemundo, and I watch it in Spanish. And then we'd go see, my grandfather would take me to go see some wrestling. And then, of course, I saw my first pack of wrestling cards in '85, and I bought them, and I collected ever since.
Yeah, that was it. That was the beginning.
That was it for me. So, I've fallen out of the way of wrestling. You guys still kind of keep up, especially you, I think, Chuck. You guys kind of keep up with the current product as far as the TV itself. Like, all the current stars. Like, if you watch maybe my box breaks, I'm like, yeah, it's Bobby Fish. I guess this is Mr. and Mrs. Fish's son. I don't know who he is. I mean, I don't know who these people are, so I don't watch. I don't watch the product.
The network helps because it's in the background all the time. You know what I mean? Having the network, I turn on the TV, it doesn't go to CNN anymore, it goes to WWE. So when it's on all the time, if there's something, like if I'm not watching it in particular, the wrestling network is on and I'm on my computer.
I mean, I only learn what I know by following Twitter.
Keep you up on stuff.
Yeah, I like to stay on top of it and stay current just to see who the star of the moment is, so that when new product does come out, I kind of know a little bit about them when I start doing my posts or my little ramblings that I put online. But I just
so Paul, can you guess what Chuckster's favorite wrestler is right now?
I know he's big on Tessa Blanchard. But,
no, I tell you, you're right.
You're close.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa.
I know you like Tessa.
Thunder Rosa. She is just awesome. She is so talented, and she is just, you can tell she has put her heart and soul into that character, and she just knows what she's doing. I just think she's fantastic. So please, Thunder Rosa, if you're watching this, hello. I'm a big fan.
Chuck, have you gotten your Trish cards yet? Tony, do you know what the Trish Stratus?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I didn't order any.
It's only an autograph. It's not a set.
Yeah. No, it's a bunch of cards, isn't it?
I thought it was too, because the way it was displayed on the thing, it had them flayed out.
It had them all fanned out, but it's the same card fanned out.
Yeah, and it's one card. It's an autograph, but I haven't got it yet.
Well, they're just up the road from me, and I haven't gotten it either. That's why I asked.
She's only signed, what, 20
I
of them?
thought I was getting a set.
She only signed 20, right?
I thought it was a set of cards.
I did too at the time, and then I found out later I was wrong.
Now let's talk about these. Let's talk about the reprints. We've done so privately, the Lawler cards, because when they first surfaced, you and I were both excited. Hey, here's something from 1983, and then we bought these cards, and they were obviously not from 1983. They were just recent reprints, and it was nice to see, but we were both a bit put out that they were quite expensive. It was $70 US for what they were
for a reprint.
Yeah. And I guess it was
18 cards in it.
Actually, get the card from '83. Yeah. We should have realized, but I was a bit disappointed that they were as expensive as they were.
Is there a difference from the '83 set to the reprint set? Are they exactly the same as far as?
I've got an image of an actual '83 that I found, and it's identical. Though '83 looks weathered, looks like it's been around for 40 years. But
isn't the reprint in black and white?
Yeah, but they're very clean. The cards are very clean on the reprint.
Is the original in color or also black and white?
I believe black and white. And again, Rob would be your guy to talk to about that, because they're the experts on the vintage stuff.
Yeah, being on social media really helps out finding, because I mean, when I first started WTC, it's the child of Com Collect, because Com Collect was a price guide. Yeah. That was what it was, supposed to be a price guide for non-sport stuff and just the things that I collected at the time. And then when I gave up the pricing side of it, because I didn't care about that anymore and just wanted to archive what I had in my collection and then just do about wrestling, you get to the point, you go like, hey, what else can there possibly be? We've got everything. I've got 100 sets listed on here. So there can't be more than that. Come on. And then all of a sudden everything just starts coming out, as social media and the internet starts growing more and more, you're like, oh, there's something out of Argentina, there's something out of Peru, something out of Japan, something out of here. You didn't realize it. And these
I would
local
think that
stuff.
between WTC, between my site, between Anthony's, that we'd have identified it all, and we haven't,
No,
because
no.
there's a couple of new
Paul
sets that
Paul and I
that
had
are coming.
talked before about possibly, but we shot this idea down because it was just too massive to get into. But we had actually thought of, I had suggested to him about adding some Japanese stuff to his site. But again, that's just so far out that there's no way we could possibly cover all that. That's
Well,
just
I can tell you right now, as a
does it
WTC,
end?
it's like that. We definitely intend on tackling that at some point in time. Whether it's
Yes.
one set at a time, it just keeps going. That's all you have to do is just keep growing.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that to you guys, because for me, it's like I want to get as much as I can, so that we're pretty complete. But with the Japanese stuff, I don't own any of it. I think I might have maybe one set. That's it. So because I don't know it, and Chuck was good enough to offer, hey, I've got quite a bit. I said, no, let's wait until Tony and Dave, or I think you suggested wait till Tony and Dave get a little further along in their redo and put our energy into making sure it's all there, because you've got it started anyways. But
Yeah, we have several pages of stuff up there. It's like that, and most of
yeah,
that stuff
to
are
your
cards that I
earlier
had.
point, yeah,
the stuff that you guys had listed on WTC, there was a lot of blanks in a lot of years. Like you only had like maybe half of the set.
Sure.
And I went through at the time and I completed those checklists.
Yeah,
So
I think you even sent us even information, I think. And of course, I hate to say it, but all that stuff is long gone because that email address is like gone. But
Yeah.
that's part of what growing the new site is going to be about, is like, getting a stable, unique email address for the site. And, as I talked to you yesterday, Chuckster, about it, like, it's just kind of like not sure which way to go, because, I need to raise the money to get the site going, but I got to get the site going so I can get it's just, it's hard. So.
But to your
And
earlier
one of
point,
my things that talking point here, since we got to talking about the Japanese stuff, something I would like to see in the United States, this cross promotional thing that AEW has been doing with the NWA and Impact, I am falling in love with. I think it's
That's right.
fantastic. I love it. But I now think the three of those need to go together and do an interpromotional card set.
that'd be cool.
Japan has been doing that for years with New Japan, All Japan, Noah Wrestling, Dragon's Gate. All of those have their sets are massive. They're like 300 and 400 cards, and they're from all their different promotions. Now that all these shows are now starting to do cross wrestling shows, I just think it would be neat for the card industry to do that too, and kind of bond together.
That would be cool.
That would be. I mean, big ass sets. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a lot to collect.
But you guys will find, Tony, when you start going back and researching to build everything up, that none of us are going to have it all.
No,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the fun of it for me. That's where the
You're
fun of
giving
it for me was
people-
doing the research and trying and getting the information to put on the site became more fun than collecting the product myself.
Yeah, like even recently, in 2018, Topps put out a set called WWD Elite, and it was released in Belgium, sold in the French market, and I think it was limited. It was a very nice box and was limited to 100 or 150 pieces only. Try and find information on it. Like people don't know it exists, right?
Someone
And
just tweeted that recently, not too long ago, right?
Yeah, and I was aware of it. I couldn't buy one. I tried to buy it a couple of times. I couldn't. I'm talking to a guy yet again to get a set. It's like 200 euros, very expensive.
Yeah.
But the point is that these are how things get lost. I had a email request from someone saying, "Hey, thanks for everything you've done on the site. Can you please add the Von Erich board game, just so
Yep.
that these cards don't get lost to history?" And
Yep.
I did, So you think you have it all. Anthony mentioned to me the other day that he's found a few other sets, probably from Russia or Turkey, that we're not aware of. So there's always going to be new stuff. And then on the vintage stuff, if you go back to the X titles that Rob was involved with Timke, that's got a lot of the earlier stuff that's missing on ours. So I think that really, when you guys get updated, it's going to be quite
But isn't a lot of stuff not just trading cards? We're talking postcards and things like that. And
yes,
I
but
start
there's,
getting for me, it's like it's not a trading card, it's a postcard or a game card is kind of in the gray area. But
I'm the same way with paper, right? I won't touch this. I won't do the 70s stuff that's paper, even though I have the Stewards.
Which is funny because even like if it's like the paper stuff which came out of a magazine, the front of that magazine says collect the trading cards,
Yes.
They call them trading cards, even though it's paper.
Yes. Now, one thing I'm going to add is playing cards, because I have a bunch and people have asked me about that, and they're actually cards. So now you guys are WTC, Wrestling Trading Cards.
Correct.
I'm wrestling card guide. So my thing is card. So a playing card is a card. A postcard is a card. A
Sure.
collectible card game is a card. A magazine piece of paper is not, right? So I'll draw my lines, but
Yeah.
it'll be different for you guys. So that's
I
going
mean,
to be
we eventually will probably create a category for that, all that stuff anyways, like that. I mean,
yeah.
if the information's there, we'll take it and put it
But
on
it's
there.
all good news because it's just going to be information for everybody.
Sure.
Like
And what's nice about it, from what I learned, I think we've talked about before, is like, my buddy works for PSA.
Yeah.
He got a job there in March, and I just talked to him the other day because it was his birthday the other day on the 9th, whatever it was. And I talked to him. He's got promoted. He's doing really well because obviously the company's got sold, $700 million. Collector's Universe got bought. And so he was like, really like, man, I'm so nervous about that because every other job I've ever worked before where it got bought, I ended up getting layoffs. I go, dude, you guys are hiring like triple the amount of people, so don't worry about it. You're good. But we were talking about it. It's like that, and he goes, they're still using your site. People here for grading purposes are still using WTC for, looking for information on older products like that. That if it's not in there, that's
because you guys have the reputation.
they reject it. And I go, well, that just makes me want to get back up there and start, because what I want to do eventually is like, for me, it's important to get caught up, obviously all the current stuff, so many years of current stuff we got to catch up on, but all the independent stuff out there, a lot of it's getting rejected as not real because there's no real information about it as far as a checklist goes and detailed information about it other than a prices. You have prices for yours on your site. So that I really want to get that on there.
Job of listing it, but we don't give information on it. Like, I mean, we have a lot of indie stuff.
Sure.
We try to keep up with it. And Chuck and I have been on a push this year to purchase it for our personal collections because we honestly believe that stuff has investment potential down the way.
Oh, it absolutely does.
The right rookie, you could be laughing.
It really does have it has a lot of investment potential, like you said, for the future. So depending on, stars. I mean, but again, to help people who are into flipping and want to invest and get stuff graded, it helps authenticate that stuff by having it somewhere on WTC page like that. So that's one of my first things I want to tackle on. So I'm going to probably go.
Don't forget that I'm not listing the checklist. So even though we're saying that, okay, there's the BOLA site and there's these sets, I'm just giving you a price on the 50 pieces.
Sure, because it gets looked upon by people going like, oh, okay, well there is, and I could probably ask them about if, and see if PSA is really checking out your site a lot. I bet you they are. And well, there's only price. It's a price guide. It's just telling you what the prices are. It's like that. Or they're selling stuff. It's a merchandise site kind of thing. Yeah. Who knows with it? Having a detailed list of all the stuff like that and then an information section about it, it helps authenticate that. And then PSA and Becca go, okay, this is legit. We'll slab it. And that's what happens.
And he lists all the insert sets that go with that set too, even though he might not list everything there. He might say, oh, there's a tag team insert set of 15 or,
sure.
So
but we have no idea what they are.
Yeah, exactly. And on our last talk we did, Tony, the one with Nick that we had done on the tops now, towards the end when we just started rambling.
Another one of my favorite little talks, yeah.
I thought that was fun too. One of the things we mentioned at the end, I was talking, because when he brought up the postcard issue here, we got to talking about those fist cards. Remember talking about the fist? Before we started the show this morning, I pulled out the 3 that I have and I wanted to share. There's Rusev.
That's a pretty unique thing, I think. It's pretty cool.
It got a signature and it's hand numbered to 10. All of them are. And I have 3 of them. I have Mark Henry.
What size are those?
They're the size of a box top. I'd say they're about
5x7.
Oh, I don't think they're quite that long, but yeah, about
4x6.
Yeah.
Did they make cards of those, Chuck? Were they
those no, these were it. And then my favorite, Dean Ambrose.
Nice.
Wonderful.
And they're all, like I said, they're all they're signed, and then up in the upper corner here, they're numbered to 10. And there was like, I think 10 or 15 of them made. And then they just scattered them throughout the boxes. As you open the box, if you were lucky enough to hit one, it was the box topper that was laying on top of it. A good friend of mine bought me the Dean Ambrose because I've been a big fan of his from day one. Yeah,
a lot of that fantastic signature of his.
Yeah, isn't it great? I just saw
who's that one with that? Who we were talking recently? Oh, I was at my local card shop here for 3D Sports Cards here in Phoenix, which they've been very nice to me. They get me my wrestling cards that I need for the current stuff for my box breaks. So I always recommend them if you're looking for stuff. They ship and everything too. So I went over on one of his Wednesday podcasts he does, where he does a live auction thing for right there in the store. And he had me there as a guest a couple weeks ago. It was the Wednesday before, no, right after my surgery, a couple weeks after my surgery. And I went in and he opened up a box of that NXT 2019. First off, I'm sorry, garbage product. It was absolutely horrible, thin card stock. Because I've gotten used to like the Undisputed and the Chrome, and I'm like, oh, this is cool stuff. And I love this card stock.
Yeah, that's too like.
And then he pulled, I think he pulled a Velveteen Dream autograph out of it. And it was literally just it almost looked like a 2, just a straight 2. And that was it. That's all it was. It was the worst signature ever.
I saw one for one of the Viking Raiders that looked like a little shape of some sort. It definitely wasn't, I think it was Eric. And if you look at, it's like almost like not a logo, but weird.
I wonder if it's like a Viking logo of some sort.
Well, it looks like if you ever see one on eBay, it's like, what the hell kind of?
Well, at least he drew. At least he took the time to draw it. There was years ago when I went to go meet Jimmy Page, and from Led Zeppelin, of course. I talk about. So he was signing he was selling his book, and I go, oh, cool! I get a chance to meet Jimmy Page. I'm going to get no photo ops with him, and at least I get an autograph, right? Oh no, he's there. You know what his signature was? Stamp. That was his signature. I was so disappointed.
You know what though? We talked about that before. Like when they sign stuff, they have great signatures at the beginning, but by the time they've done it for an hour, it's nothing.
Yeah.
When I do my marketing, I always sign blue pen every piece. You'll if I send up 5,000, I'll sit down and sign them. And I'll tell you at the end of an hour, like your signature does not look the same.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Dusty Rhodes was a perfect example. I've told that story before when he did his TNA card set. Most common, you'll find that little DR, that's it. But it's hard to find a full signature version because that was early in his signings like that. And I mentioned that to him when he came to the old RVD comic book store in Lakewood Mall. And I asked him about that, and he's like, man, he's like, they had me sign so many of those. It was just so much. It was just so ridiculous. And so
Let me show you an awesome signature that a person did with a little drawing that they put on their card. One man gang. Look over here. That was a hard card to get because he released a lot of with just his name. And to get that one with that little logo, that little symbol on the side, I just thought was pretty awesome. That's the first Leaf collection to come out, I think, in 2014.
Leaf?
I'm going to quickly
2012. That's the 2012.
I want to check mine and see if I have that little image.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a little skull and crossbones.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got all my Leafs in one. I just want to see if my one man gang.
Yeah, it's a 2012 set.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see here. Is that coming out?
Yeah,
you can't really see it.
No.
Anyway,
you got to hold it in front of you.
It has the.
It's like trying to find the old Eddie Guerrero one from WCW because some
one man gang there.
Can't see anything.
No,
you got to put it in front of you so you have something behind it. There you go, like that.
There you go, like that.
You see the one man gang there? It doesn't have it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that's a short print, Chuck.
It's like find the old Eddie Guerrero WCW autograph on some of them. He wrote, Latino Heat.
Right. And even the Hogans, some of the Hogans say Hollywood.
Some say Hollywood.
Some are done on the back. Some are done on the front.
Some just say HH.
Everyone always says to me, oh, I got the rare one. I said, well, which one's the rare one?
Which rare one did you get?
Hollywood, the one that says this. I said, you know what? Everyone thinks they got the rare one.
That's right. And some of them just said HH.
Yep. Yeah.
What else is going on in the current world of wrestling trading cards lately? Let's talk about a little bit about the potential for AEW cards coming up here and what's coming up. It's like that. What are you guys excited about with that?
Well, let's just hope that, it's Upper Deck. So, people think, oh, this is Upper Deck's first foray into wrestling. It isn't. It's going to be their first set, but obviously we know that Upper Deck has done one-offs of Hogan and stuff before.
Sure.
And the only other thing I collect other than wrestling is Toronto FC soccer. Not the complete soccer, but anything to do with TFC. And Upper Deck had that license for a long time, and they make great product. So I think that they're going to do us proud. Let's hope they don't kill us with parallels. And again, that's not fair for me to say because I know some of you guys out there love your parallels and want to make your rainbows and such.
Sure.
But I think it's going to be a great product.
Is Upper Deck known for doing a lot of parallels in their other products?
I don't know them in the, well, they're not, the hockey, they're big in hockey up here. I just know that their cards look good, and, they're just as viable as Topps or anybody else,
What
I
about
think
you? What about you, Chuckster?
As far as well, I don't have any upper deck at all. All of mine's just been like Tops or
here.
all the stuff that Fleer, stuff like that, comic images. So I have never dealt with upper deck, but as far as the AEW end of it, I am really excited about that. While I said 2020 is going to be my last year of box breaking, I'm just going to buy individual sets. I'm making the exception when it comes to AEW. I will be all over that.
So what is it about that? What is it about the product itself and that makes you make that exception?
The characters. I love their the people they have on there. I mean, I know they're not to everyone's taste. They're quite a high flying bunch of people. And when I got into wrestling, it was holds and takedowns and reversals and things like. These guys are just athletes. They're just athletic, and I just love that. And the storylines they have aren't so complicated that you can't follow, and they don't just drop a storyline in the middle of a story. And there's going to be so many first-time signers, I think, from this set. I mean, now I know Kenny Omega won't be a first-time signer. He signed a lot of stuff. But I'm looking for, like, I love the Cowboy. I think he is fantastic, and I love like the Lucha Brothers, and I like they have the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and these guys are just, they're new, they're up and coming, they're exciting. I like the new kids coming out. I think that's going to be fun, because I think down the road, barring any injuries, a lot of these are going to be some pretty big stars one day, if they aren't already.
Is there one particular wrestler that you're looking, hoping they put a signature card in like that you're looking for?
I'm ashamed to say this because I'll be sounding so much like a mark, but yes, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I agree. Orange Cassidy, man.
Love Orange Cassidy. I think he's great. Yeah,
you too.
Gotta have
Orange Cassidy
autograph.
There's just something about the whatever that's very cool about him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's just got that gimmick that just that I just take to. I just drop everything I'm doing, even if I'm online. When he comes on, I put down the phone and just watch his stuff. I've gone on YouTube and pulled up his videos of his little indie shows just to kind of get a thing. And there's stuff. There's just a lot of them in there. Luchasaurus, I really like. I've never seen him wrestle without the mask. I don't really know who he is. I haven't done a lot of research into him, but I think
didn't he wrestle for a while for Lucha Underground?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's a missed opportunity. There's a missed opportunity there too. It would have been cool to have a Lucha Underground card set.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking for the autographs. I'm not really care. Memorabilia has really kind of gone by the wayside in Topps the last few releases, which I'm fine with because I'm not.
Well, between you two guys, you probably have enough to make your own wardrobes.
Yeah, probably wardrobes and ring mats.
Wait, what was that, Paul?
I could probably make about 10 wrestling rings. Just off of that stuff.
Yeah.
This AEW though, obviously.
Is it because it's new? Is it because it's a new promotion? Is that the only reason why?
Just remember what happened with WCW once it got hot. It was better for wrestling in general once there was a war.
Sure.
So and now they're sort of positioning it as AEW versus NXT, not so much WWE.
Sure.
But the AEW product has been great. Like this first year's been fantastic for them. So they should have major level manufacturing of memorabilia.
I just hope they're going to make it with their autographs and do a decent autograph instead of the scribbles that we're used to seeing. The one autograph we saw online on Twitter was of the Jacksons, either Nick or Matt Jackson signing the stickers. And they were pretty decent looking autographs. So if they're all kind of along
stickers,
those lines,
stickers.
Yeah, they're stickers.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of stickers, but I was hoping to keep either the print run somewhat low. I hope they don't blow their entire wad, getting the entire roster to sign the first one right away. Build some anticipation to other releases.
Yeah, they can't do what TriStar did. You remember when TriStar came out with their first Impact? They got everybody to sign.
Yeah.
So by the time you got to your third set of those, I didn't need any of those autographs because I had them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they stagger them, that would be good.
I mean, how many ODB cards do we need?
Right.
Yeah.
And I like her. I mean, but how many do you need?
Yeah.
I really do hope they stagger their roster as far as the number of signatures they can have like that, not just have everybody in one shot. And then what's the next one? You know, well, we'll get new stars. Like, okay, but the new stars don't come out as quickly as you put out products. So
Right. Yeah, as long as you
Sammy
don't.
Guevara is another one that I'm really, really high on in AEW. I think Sammy's already there. He's got the charisma to get in the ring and mouth off, and he can perform athletically too. I just think, and pairing him up with Chris Jericho to get a little bit of rub, I think has been fantastic.
20 years old, 21. He's just a kid, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he is. And MJF is just the best heel in the business right now, as far as I'm concerned. I think
what
MJF
did you
is
guys
great.
think of that segment, that dance segment that he did? That was one of the most amazing things I've seen in years when they did that. You remember the one?
Yeah, it did. It took me a couple of views to understand it. Yeah, the first time I thought it, my mouth was just hanging open, like, what did I just see? And then I watched the next day on YouTube. Oh yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, that was good.
Well, apparently, I read somewhere that MJF said when he was a kid, he either wanted to be a Broadway performer or a professional wrestler. So I think he was able to do both of those on that one.
Yeah, I think it was a fun segment, and that was the first night I had a friend of mine actually watch wrestling or AEW wrestling for the first time, and then that segment come on, and I just got the weirdest look, and it's like,
this is what you watch every week, buddy.
Yeah.
So outside of the AEW, which is a pretty anticipated release for 2021, is there any other releases coming out that you think people should be working out for 2021, like from WWE? Or even, are there any independents coming out that we don't know about yet?
Independents on the top side, they're probably going to carry on with the Road to WrestleMania, then their signature set, and then they'll likely, whether they get back into Heritage or Chrome or whatever derivation of what they've already given us over the years. But these indie sets, we talked about it a little bit. It's getting easier for these guys to make these things.
Yes.
So when you do your Nash card, Tony, whether you do it through Nick or you do it yourself, sure. You can now make a professional, looking card, and it's affordable. So that's going to allow a lot of these smaller federations, like I mentioned to you guys before, there's a thing up here called Greektown, and they got some great guys. Sonny Kiss, who's in AW, was there. Puff, who's in Limitless, was part of their group. And these are some really talented guys. Approach them to do a set, because there's so many of these independent federations. So I'm looking forward to more of this kind of thing. Guys that are running local, backyard almost things.
Sure.
Making sets, and now, where do we catalog them? Well, Chuck and I have decided that, they exist, they're real, and we want to log them, because 10 years from now, someone might say, oh, you remember the Bola cards? And like, what? We don't know nothing about them. That's why. So I'm more interested. I know Chuck said he's going to get off of the Tops releases and focus more on the indie stuff and the AEW. I'm going to just buy the base sets to do the flip through for the site. But I'm more excited, I think, on the indie stuff, because I think that's going to be.
It's one of the first categories that I think that I want to tackle right away. Is like when I start bringing things more up to date, it's the indie stuff I want to get archived and checklists quickly. I want to get that stuff done because the top stuff is going to be easier to get a hold of.
We'll be able to give you all the sets, but then you'll have to go. I don't know how you intend to do it. If you want to look through the flip throughs or figure out the individual checklists, because that's the stuff I don't have that you guys will have to fill in.
Yeah, I just want the checklist, and I'm going to need images. That's it.
And Tops now is doing something new. They just started, and I really hate it because I'm already so invested in Tops now as it is. They're starting a new collection that will come out on the first Friday of each month. There'll be 3 cards, and they'll all be print to order. And it's called The History of WWE. And I've already got the first 3 cards ordered. So now here we go with another not on demand, but another print to order Tops Now set.
It's almost kind of like their Tops living set, isn't it? Kind of, no?
Maybe. I guess,
in a way.
Most of the cards the 3 cards that are in the top, and I can't remember exactly who they are, but I know they're older. I mean, they got a Boogeyman card, I think.
I think the first one had like a DX one in there, I think, or something like that, or Evolution. Yeah. No, Evolution, I think it was.
Evolution, yeah, Evolution, and I think Boogeyman, which will be the first Boogeyman Tops Now card. And so, it's going to be fun, but they've got to get somebody in there that really will take care of this set. And because
what is those 3 card sets running? What do they cost?
$14.99
per card,
for 3
for the set
for the set of 3, or you can buy the individual. You don't have to buy all 3 if you don't want. You can buy just the single one, just the same way the Tops Now stuff does.
So it really is just Tops Now again, but just now covering a different name. Yeah, like a series.
Yeah, and they're still running the Tops Now series on top of it too. And they did. I'm not going to get into it, but Nick and I have both realized this week they just made another major NXT error. So he got his shipment in and he's already contacted. Mine hasn't shown up yet, but I'm sure I'll have the same error. But
what's the error?
Well, remember me talking about the 21, 22, 23 card set, and then the following month they put out 21 through 25.
Yeah.
So they had 2 21s, 2 22s, and 2 23s. Well, he finally got the 21 through 25 set, and the 21 through 23 was the first 21 through 23, and then he got 24, 25 from the following set. So he didn't get 21, 22, 23 from the following month. So he's got duplicates of 21 through 23.
I feel like I need to get out my Texas Instrument calcalibrator and figure this out.
Yeah.
It's like it's
yeah, it's just it's hard to explain on here, but
sure.
He DM'd me last night on Twitter and we were talking about it, and I said my set has been in Washington D.C. post office since last Monday.
Oh.
And I know it's on its way, but it was supposed to be delivered last Monday, and now it's just showing late for delivery. You know, it's still in our system, so I have no idea when I'll get mine, but when I do, I'm sure I'll have the same error. So
you don't collect any of those tops now, do you, Paul? Or you do?
No, I never got into them because I've never been a one at a time guy. If I can't get a set, it's just by personality. I'm not
Sure,
patient.
yeah.
So I can't do like Chuck and go online, buy a card for $10, wait a week, do it again. I rely on people to do that for me, and then I
oh, okay, you gotta do it for you.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't open packs, right?
Yeah.
I want the complete.
When's the last time you opened a pack or a box?
Long time ago. Like I don't, I buy my stuff on eBay. I have suppliers that send me.
Okay, so before eBay ever existed, you didn't buy packs or boxes?
We'd have to go way back.
Way back.
You know what though? I had a memory of before PayPal. I remember often going to the post office to get money orders and standing in line and getting money orders to ship down to the States to get cards, so that's how long it's been. But no, even back in the early days of eBay, I rely on people in the card business to buy their cases, to do all that for me, and then give me a good price on the assembled product. And that's the only way you can get it all. And I think outside of the Topps 2016, we talked about NXT, and maybe 1 or 2 insert sets, not base sets. Got it all. So it's a matter really of that's what has worked for me. Like I said, collecting is different to everybody.
Sure.
And I get that some people treat this as investment, and look, they're smart. That's what I do in the real world. I buy and sell real estate. So I don't need to do it in the hobby, but like I don't need to have 10 of one card because they're valuable. That's just me. I get that it's investment, but like one Hogan All-Star is enough for me. Now, Chuck doesn't have one, and some of our friends out there have 30 of them. You know what I mean? Now, to again, nothing on them, but it's an economic theory of creating scarcity by hoarding, right? And at the end of the day, you can create a market by doing that, and it's a very viable means of collecting. But I approach it differently. For me, I want to have the complete set so that I can look like Chuck says. He goes for a binder, and I see it, and that's what I want. For me, it's not about trying to have the most of one that I can cash in on, because I don't sell.
Which was one of my questions. I actually threw my paper away. So actually, you guys, I said, you've already kind of talked about the guests, it's like, get to know the guests. One of the things I didn't actually touch on it was, and you just brought it up, was when you do collect like that, do you just put it away and then never look at it again? Or how often do you actually go back and look at your collection, Paul?
Well, I'll tell you, doing these flip throughs for the site was a good idea, not just to put the information out there for everybody, but for me, because I've got the stuff sitting right beside me in a filing cabinet, and they're in binders, but they're on top of each other, in front of each other. So just now, if I wanted to pull the leaf, I happen to know where that is. But if I want to find my WCW, I've got to get on my hands and knees and go down there. So it's not easy. These videos make it very easy if there's something I want to look at or see to click, and it's there.
Sure.
So I'm looking at these videos more, and plus, we're not supposed to be touching the stuff anyways. To keep it pristine.
Yeah, but you already have it in binders and protective sleeves and stuff like that. So I mean,
to buy a set and have it in a box that you can't see, it's pointless.
Sure.
Like if I can't look at it. So again, that's not the most economical way of doing it. You guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, I lost you. For me, it's more important that I can have everything that I need.
What about you, Chuckster?
Ever since I've been on Twitter, I've actually been going into my collection a lot more than I was. I was going in about once a month, just pulling out a few binders, looking at. Now that I'm on Twitter, I find myself once or twice a week pulling something out and just focusing on a particular thing. Like one week I did a bunch of Japanese stuff. One week I did some some kind of rare autographs. Yeah, and I love to flip through it just for the enjoyment and the nostalgia. And when we were talking yesterday privately, we had talked about possibly doing a holiday version. Hint, hint, yeah. And I hunted up the only holiday card that I know of two, but I could only find the one. Mr. Lou as Santa. And that was fun, just going through this set again. Yeah. I have another one that was put out by Pro Wrestling Loot. Those little caricature cards, I think I posted them online. It's Mick Foley in a Santa hat. And I wanted to show that one, but I don't have it here with me. I wasn't able to get it. But yeah, it's at least once a week I pull out an album or two and go through. I've recently started going through my Japanese stuff again, just because I've neglected them for a while and I wanted to see what was out there. And since I've moved, I've kind of misplaced a couple of things, and I've got to dig through boxes and find them. But
you'll find them.
But I will, yeah, because there's one set that I want to kind of surprise Paul with, for his collection. And I can't find it yet, but it's going to be heading his way once I find it.
Oh, look at that.
And, yeah, just thanks for everything.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that may be a while. Might be a spring before I find it.
This jacket pops on here, man. It's good. All right.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I was gonna wear something else, and then my wife goes, "You should wear your Santa jacket." I go, "That's right. I should wear my Santa jacket." Totally forgot about that.
And the last thing we were talking about, when we were talking about the, what's your favorites, and I said 87 was my favorite. And once again, I can't stress it enough, and you're probably tired of hearing it. My second favorite is
2010 Platinum.
You got it. Yeah. And we were talking about the different levels of parallels and how the colors were. I brought out green, blue, gold.
Is it? But isn't Chrome or and Finest? Don't they have like a beautiful parallel set too? Aren't they really noticeable?
They do.
Yeah,
they are. But I'm not going to do that. That's nice. That's 9 parallels. And at the time, I was really into this 2010, and I've got all the green. They had a base, a refractor, and a superfractor, and I have the complete sets of all of those. I have the complete set of the green. I'm only missing one blue. Please, anybody out there that has a Kelly blue, please send it to me, get a hold of me. And I'm more than halfway there on the gold set, and there's only 50 of the golds. So
I'm just gonna while you're talking, Chuck, I'm gonna check for that Kelly, see if it's here.
Oh no, that'd be awesome. Don't make me jealous. But
hey, if it makes you guys feel any better, I have 0 of them.
Okay. No, I don't know if you can see the difference here or not, but here's the base. Yeah. And then there's the refractor, which is like a rainbow.
Yeah, and I can see the little dots for the
which has the little dots all over.
Yeah.
And I have the entire 125 set of all of those.
Nice.
Up through the green, I have 124 blues. And
I'm just going through mine now. I've got a lot of greens, and I got a lot of these dotty ones. What do you call those?
Those
superfractors.
Those are the X-fractors. Superfractors. I'm sorry, the superfractors.
I've got very little blue here, buddy. So
yeah, they're the superfractors.
If I had a blue Kelly, it'd be yours. But
oh wow, yeah, get the word out. That would be my Christmas gift, and I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah, no, I've got what are these ones with the dots? They're refractors or
superfractors?
They're superfractors.
This is, for example, again, you probably can't tell, but this is like one whole binder, right? So this entire binder is platinum, to give you an idea.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd be able to get 3 or 4 sets into one.
Yeah.
Because of the parallels and everything else, you can see that it fills a whole binder.
I've got 3 binders. I have one for the regular and the refractor and the superfractors, and then the one for the green, blue, and gold base. And then I have a third binder for the insert sets. There was 2 different insert sets,
right, and
they had the green, blue, and gold. So I've got a separate binder for the green, blue, and gold in those. I'm still working on those. I'm nowhere near complete on those.
I just noticed when I was flipping through there, I have a red 1 of 10 Ms signature. So you forget what you have, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, there was a post once on Twitter about your favorite autograph, or the one performer that you'd like to have an autograph that you don't have. And I said, oh, I'd love to have an Undertaker, because I never got that Raw of War. But then I completely forgot about the action pack, those gold ones, and I had
Yeah.
one of them. But I completely, and Zan did a video on the Savage one,
Yep.
which I have that one as well. And it was like, yeah, for whatever reason, like unless you go back and look at these things, you forget, because this is
Mhm.
like 30 years of collecting this shit.
Yeah.
So try and remember what you have and what version of parallel you have, you know.
Hey, Paul, I wanted to bring up like that. I really enjoyed your update to the history of wrestling cards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you,
I
man.
feel a little butthurt that you removed WTC in the in there, but
You did?
yeah, there used to be a little blurb about there towards the end of the actual history of it's like that, where you kind of talked about WTC a little bit, the modern era kind of thing about
Really?
online collecting. Yeah,
You know what? Then I might have, I wasn't aware. I'll have to check the original.
I'm kidding. I enjoyed the read though. It's very much more extensive now, and you really broke it down well, and I thought it was really well written.
Now, another thing I did, which is a little Easter egg on the site, was I put a little cartoon of me and Chuck on the site as well. And I was going to invite Tony, if you want to make a little card of for you and for David. I was thinking what I'd do is I'd make a little rogues gallery of all the wrestling card elders as cartoons at the bottom.
How'd you guys make a cartoon of yourselves?
Well, Chuck had one, and he said he sent it to me, and I said,
that caricature I sent you.
yeah, I said, you know what, Chuck, I'm going to put it on the site. I'm going to hide it on the site somewhere in appreciation for all the work over the years that you've done with me. And I did that, and I was thinking that, yeah, I should get everyone on here. So anybody that wants to send me a little cartoon, you'll have to go onto the site and find it yourself. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's there.
I mean, I have one. The guy who drew the Kevin Nash card that I'm going to have coming out did a caricature of me. Where let me see if I can find it. You guys go ahead. But it was very funny that he did it, and it was like done like a Ricky Martin type style. It says "Viva la Vela" or something like that on it, or something
If you
like
find
that.
it, send it to me, and I'll add you to I'll add it to our two.
It's pretty hilarious. I gotta find it somewhere. I might even be I don't know where it's at, but I really enjoyed the write up that you had on there. It's like that. It was kind of long overdue to have that updated.
Well, it was 10 years, right? Like I
Yeah.
wrote that when we first did the book.
Correct.
Right. And the other thing that I'm working on now, I mentioned to Chuck yesterday, is that we talked about this the very first time you and I met, is about how often do I update the prices? And we're long overdue for some of those early Grim numbers to be looked at. And I actually went back to the WCW autographs. I've done all those. I've done the photographs. I've asked Peck for an update on the All-Stars, so hopefully that's going to come soon. And if it doesn't, then he'll have to rely on my pricing, which probably won't be the best thing. These are the things that I intend to do over the next few weeks, is just get the numbers a little more to reality, because some of them are quite low, I think.
Yeah, especially when it comes to that 82s like that. And he's the perfect guy, obviously, because he does all his homework on that. But it's also not that hard to research that stuff either, because it's so popular right now. It's been going on.
Yeah, and again, a lot of it came from Grimm. So this is stuff that he priced back in 2009, right? And it's just been sitting since. Like he'll have some memorabilia cards. He'll have one at $3 and one at $5. Well, there's no such thing as a $3 versus a $5 relic card anymore. They're both the same.
Yeah, it's God, again, whatever happened to that guy, really?
Yeah, like I hope he's still with us, man, because I've not heard. Anthony and I were talking about it just the other day, how much we miss him, and we've just never heard from the guy.
I remember
if he's on this planet, he must be aware that we're doing this now.
I mean, he has to be. I mean, he absolutely has to be. I remember having some long conversation on the phone. I mean, it'd be 3 in the morning my time, so it'd be like 6 in the morning his time at the time.
He's the one noticeable to you, to me, to Chuck, I'm sure to Rob and to Dave, and obviously to Anthony. He's the one figure amongst all of us that's missing, because he was the guy back in the day. I'd rely on him more than anybody.
He was my direct competition when it came to selling wrestling cards.
Yeah.
And then when we both had the same connections over at Fleer, we were both kind of bidding against each other to buy out inventory. And it ended up being some guy in Southern California that ended up buying most of the inventory. He got a good chunk of it, and I got some of it too. But the guy in Southern California.
You know who that is? Who got the stuff in California?
Most of the guys, a guy named Norman Schmelz. He bought most of it, and his brother Donald.
Or is he a reseller?
He's a reseller.
Oh, is he? Okay, so he's
yeah, he bought all the stuff. He's the same guy that bought all those online versions of the TNA exclusive ring mat cards.
Right.
He bought he's the same one. So these guys went in together. They all bought out a whole bunch of stuff from Fleer this time. So I was just happy. I was happy that they sent me stuff. That's all I was happy about.
I'd spent more than I would have as a rule back then. Like I spent over it was thousands that I spent at that time to get whatever pieces I got. and I don't remember, but it was quite a bit.
Well, thank God that we don't have to spend that much anymore now. I don't know.
Well, maybe we do. Who knows?
It's true. Who
Now, one
knows?
other thing you mentioned about what am I looking forward to next year is that first inaugural WTC card.
Yeah, well, that's kind of in a limbo state right now because I'm kind of in a, I don't know what you call it, a catch-22 position, I guess, where it's going to cost me some money to actually have that done because the way I want it done. I want it done. My cards are numbered physically on the card as part of the image itself, not hand numbered. I'm just so against hand numbering. It's going to cost me to do it that way. And I'm looking at probably a couple $100 to just have it printed. So I've been told. But I haven't found a printer yet that's kind of willing to do it yet. And truth be told, I haven't gone out of my way to go and look for that printer either. I've talked to Nick briefly. I need to go back and talk to him again. I talked to Gypsy King too.
His cards are of a good quality. Like the stuff Nick makes is good.
I don't have any in my hand. I've never seen one before, so I don't know what the quality's like.
I've enjoyed this AKA series. I mean, I know there's a bit of a thing on custom cards and unlicensed stuff, but
Sure.
you know what? Fast forward to 30 years, you're going to want to have that set in the record. I'm telling you, because it's really well done.
I imagine you probably will. I imagine you probably will. I just, I haven't gotten my hands on any of it like that. So, I mean, I'm sure I could probably buy some at some point. I just don't know. I don't know. And I do want to get a set just so I can have it in my hand so I can actually see the quality because I do have Gypsy King stuff and I love the quality of his stuff. Just love it. And that's what kind of the direction I want to go. Cause I kind of want to make it as special as possible. It's like that. I feel like it's important to make it good quality stuff. I mean, people are donating to help keep the site running, like that. And I think they deserve to have something of good quality.
Well, you got two of your principal donors right here.
I was a little worried that, how much am I going to be able to make? Cause I mean, I've told this off air, it's like that. And I have no qualms about releasing information about it. But if everything were to sell, all of it, it's 150 total cards. Okay. 100 unsigned stuff, 41 signed versions of stuff, and then 9 cards, it'll be unnumbered signed versions. That just kind of little, I could just kind of do whatever I want with, maybe to trade or do something or whatever. I don't know. I'll have 9 cards. Well, one will be made to me, one will be made to, my partner, David, just like that. So I'll have 7 just signed unnumbered cards. And Kevin's agreed to be on. He's going to be on one of these episodes. He's going to sign them on the episode right there. So you can see him signing it. I also have another guest I got coming up as well. So like that, he'll actually be on before Kevin will. I'm going to have Heath Slater will be on.
Nice.
So kind of little letting that out, but
and all of his kids too from the trailer park.
All of his kids. He was our first guest on my on our virtual meet and greet con that we did. My partner and I were doing, a different partner and I were doing, and super nice guy. He was just very great storyteller. Even my wife was like in the kitchen, watching like that while I was doing it here. And she stopped, goes, "That was a fantastic story he just told. I was really entertained by that story." But turns out I go, "Hey," just as we're off air, I go, I run another different channel called WrestlingTradingCards.com. I saw you were on an episode of Brody the Kid one time. He goes, "Oh yeah, great kid. I love that. It was great." I said, "Are you interested in talking about trading cards?" He goes, "Buddy, there are 2 things I collect: wrestling figures and trading cards." And so he was very interested in coming on and doing 15 minutes of talking about trading cards.
Nice.
So I'm hoping to get that done soon. But I'm kind of just in that limbo state of where then my surgery came up, so I kind of put things in the back burner. And I was like, well, I can't be on a podcast. If I'm all bandaged up and everything's like that, I can't do that. But now I've healed a lot faster than I thought I was going to. And I'm in constant, I just texted with Kevin yesterday asking about how he's doing. He had eye surgery, like that. And I'm just gonna. I have it all. They're all sitting right here on my flash drive. It's ready to go. Just got to get to.
Be a good year.
It's got to just get to the printer, and then I figured that if everything were to sell, it'd be roughly about $1,200, based on the tier structure I had done. If I say $200 of it goes towards printing costs, that's $1,000 of bringing in. My goal is to get 800. 800 will fund the site for 5 years. But if I had $1,000 out of the site, I go, you know what? For an extra 200, do I get another year out of it? Do you give me another 2 years out of it? I'll just put it all into the site and just have it all paid for in advance. I don't have to worry about it for a while. And even though it'd be paid for so far in advance, I still may do another one next year too. I've already talked to the artist, Anthony, who's the same guy who did the caricature of me. And we're talking about doing a couple more.
Nice.
I've reached out to a few other people that I know that I worked with, and they're like, yeah, just send me what you want done. We'll take care of it. I said, okay, great.
Cool.
So we'll see.
Oh, the one question nobody has asked you yet, or you haven't answered. I've kind of put my two favorites out there. What's your favorite set? Do you have a favorite?
I think the WCW autograph 80, 98, 99, the embossed, the three sets that encompass all the autographs, 103. You know, I know it's not a set, that autograph set over the three WCW releases, I think would be my favorite.
How many of those do you have?
I've got them all,
All of them.
Except for Hardcore Hack, Booker
Okay.
T, Ric Flair, and British Bulldog.
Okay. So
You know?
you have all of except for the unreleased, the unreleased stuff.
I
Gotcha.
have Rey Mysterio, thanks to you.
Yeah.
I have a Bobby Duncombe. I have a what was the other rare one?
Mikey Whipwreck.
I have that one. I told you the story before of how I was offered the Hardcore Hack and I didn't.
Yeah.
And I would pay dearly now for that one of one Ric Flair. But, I just wish I had the kind of cash then that I have.
I'm having a heck of a time trying to track down that gentleman that worked for Topps. It was a liaison between Topps and WCW, because it went from the department that handled the wrestling cards itself to this gentleman who was then went to Jimmy Hart, who was the liaison for WCW stuff. And this guy physically sat with all the wrestlers who signed those cards, and the stories this guy must have about sitting with all these guys and who rejected it and who didn't. He would know.
Just what you said there authenticates it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Because some people might say, well, how do you know it's actually him? It's just one of one.
Sure.
And that's why it's my holy grail.
Yeah.
Because we know that he signed that card, and we know that card is part of.
And that card was sold by Jimmy Hart's son online.
And I've seen the knockoffs, but I also know the original, and that original, based on the stories that we shared back then, makes it, in my opinion, the most unique card.
There's a fantastic collector out there. I think his name is Barry. It has his name. He collects a lot of signature stuff, and he does make comments and posts a lot of times on my birthday shout outs. He comments on a lot of the posts that I make with his card that he has. And I did check out his Facebook page, and I saw this a dual WCW autograph card of Hall and Nash.
Yeah,
it's a custom made.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of those.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It sends a I don't know if it's not bad, but it sends it's misleading.
Yeah. Well, there's a new WCW set that Chuck and I just bought. That's unlicensed, illegal, or what have you, bootleg set, but it's still very cool.
Which WCW set was that?
Did you get yours yet, Chuck? The WCW set that came from the UK?
No, I didn't order it.
Oh, you didn't order it? Oh, you didn't.
I knew of it, but I passed on it.
Oh, no, I went for it. It hasn't come yet. So I'm going to be very curious. Now, where do you draw the line? Obviously, there's no WCW anymore. So for someone to come up with a new WCW.
I didn't really draw the line. It was a financial decision at the time.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Not suggesting that you didn't buy it for that, but
right.
These are going to be the questions going forward, that like, if anybody can make a card at any time,
anybody can.
Yeah. We don't want people infringing on copyrights or anything like that, obviously. Correct. But by the same token, WCW hasn't been around in some time. Now this set, obviously they didn't have the rights to it, but it was a great looking set. So,
so what are your thoughts on that then? As we kind of wrap up here, so like that, what are your thoughts on that as far as where do we draw the line when it comes to doing price guide, to come to doing checklists, to coming? I mean, do we authenticate that and give it validity by saying we're going to put a checklist out for you?
Yeah, and that's what I've done, because we've shown a lot of the Asian stuff, like. And we know that none of that stuff, none of this Mexican Loterio stuff, Chuck, none of that's licensed, right?
No.
It's made sold in the marketplaces. The Ursa stuff, which was a legitimate Turkish chocolate company, right? Mm-hmm. It's not likely they had the licensing, because they had misprints and spelling mistakes, and they had AG files a decade before he'd actually signed. So for me, it's like, I'm okay with it. Now, I get that.
You're okay with it from a collector standpoint, but what about from an authentication standpoint?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, are we doing a disservice by legitimating this by saying, hey, here's a WCW set that came out in 2020 and it's worth this, and that becomes a moral argument, I suppose, of for me, it's like the first AEW sets, those first couple, right, where we know that the guy that made them was asked to stop. I have those sets, right? They're my personal property. I videotaped them and I put them out there. And I'm glad that I did because they exist, whether Tony Khan and AEW wants them to or not, no one ever has, I don't know if it's happened with you guys, but no one's ever asked me to take anything down. No one's ever said to me on my site, please get rid of this video, please get rid of these images. So for me, if it's a card and it's wrestling, I'm gonna have it.
Well, as a collector.
As a collector, but as the author of the price guide, should I be putting these things on the site? Now, if someone asked me specifically, if all of a sudden AEW said, hey, you guys are listing 2 sites that the guy that made them really didn't have permission for, and we'd really appreciate it if you take them down, then obviously I'd comply, right? I'm not here to.
Because I'm wondering if it's something that I want to for WTC. Do I want to authenticate or legitimize those sets by putting a checklist out there and saying, yeah, here, or I could. And as you know, we put an info section when there's more information about that, saying this is a non-licensed card set, blah 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 blah, da da da.
Yeah,
I can make that notation.
Yeah, I think at the bottom of the prices, I'll put a little something that said that, to the best of our knowledge, this is not made by WCW because it came out in 2020.
Well, of course it did, and it's not by WCW because it's owned by WWE.
Right.
So we obviously know that that's not a legitimate. It's not. Otherwise, it would have the Tops logo on it, and it'd be by Tops.
Exactly. But we've got so much other stuff from Asia that some of it categorized, some of it not. But if it's out there,
like I don't think I'd ever legitimize or even bother trying to make a checklist for that knockoff WWE insider type crap that had all kinds of from Konami or whatever the hell came out of Singapore area, I believe.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'd ever.
I have some of that stuff on there.
I do too. I actually had so much of it.
I
had so much of it at one time. I sent a box to Tops to my connection there to authenticate. Like, this is 100% illegal. It's not us. We did none of our.
I was mistaken on that because I was sold a few of them. I didn't buy the set, but someone sent them to me and told me they were a legitimate release from whatever. And I never really looked at them closely enough to determine. It was only when I saw some of the weird oddball spellings that I went back and looked at mine, because I got ones that looked pretty normal.
Yeah. And not only mention that it had like talent that never even existed in WWE, and then it had people's names that were even misspelled. I mean, there's all kinds of things, and it was just a total knockoff of the insider stuff from 07, I think it was. And it just, when I sent that to Tops, at the time, my contact there was Colin, and he's like, I can 100%. I ran this through our department. I checked with Tops UK. We never printed this stuff. None of us print.
And maybe in the future we might take a different stance on it, and we might decide that this stuff that has crossed the line shouldn't be categorized, and maybe we'll take it away. But for now, it's there.
I'm just trying to figure out if I want to put it on the WTC site at all. Period.
Yeah.
Since we've been talking about Kevin Nash a lot, let's give him a little shout out. Leaf, a duel with him and Bret Hart.
Oh, nice.
That's a little unique on the Bret Hart because I don't see the dots.
I know. Yep, that's from one of their last Legend sets.
That actually would bother me because he's notorious that he's made a thing that all of his signatures, to help authenticate his own, it has the 4 dots for his kids.
Yeah, for his kids, right. Well, you can see his T's running off the end of the card, so maybe it was on there and just didn't make it onto the sticker. One
of the reasons why I hate stickers.
Yep.
Back in
that's 125.
Back a few years back, I worked with Richard Roundtree, if anybody remembers him.
Oh yeah.
He was the original Shaft.
Yeah.
So I did a show with him once, and at the time it was Razor, which got bought up by Leaf, I believe.
I remember Razor.
And they went around doing the stickers and stuff like that, and we made a deal with Richard to do 3 sheets of 30, I think it was, or however many sheets it was, 5 sheets of 30 or something like that. And we agreed on an amount, and he's like, "Wait, so you want me to sign on these stickers?" And Richard has a very beautiful big signature, with an R with a tree all the way across. And he's like, so every single one had lettering that was off. So you get all these stickers that had like the end of the T from the previous sticker. It was just that's why I hate the stickers. I really do.
And one we lost this week.
Zeus.
Yep. Yeah.
Zeus.
Yeah.
I posted a picture of him and I back from the Hollywood show the day when I worked with him. Actually, I didn't work with him. I was working with John Schneider at the time, so my picture with him was taken by John Schneider, who also took my picture with Roddy Piper at the same show.
Wow.
You have that picture still?
Oh yeah, I still have it.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's I've gotten many pictures of the Piper over the years like that. My buddy David, well, Porto, David, you know, he hadn't met Piper at the time, and I had been hyping him up, going, dude, you got to meet Piper. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's the nicest guy in the world. And so you can meet Piper, and it's like that, and he couldn't been nicer. And I think David handed him a trading card of something from like probably WTCW or something like that, whatever it was. And he looked at it, he goes, is there a promotion I haven't wrestled for? And he was just very, very, and he just started talking about different promotions, and just such a nice guy.
Nice.
What a nice guy he was. I was gonna see if I can find it and share it with you, but I can't find it, so no big deal. But yeah, so just figure out if we get to their talk, you know, a little bit, find out what's going on with the hobby itself, what to look forward to. AEW cards seem to be the big thing we're kind of looking forward to. Looks like the normal laundry list of WWE products coming out still. I personally think that just coming out too quickly, obviously because of the pandemic, everything's got to get released, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it just would have been better off to like say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and skip this year about putting out this particular product and
well, we didn't have as much product, but yeah, it seems like they're trying to back end everything. And
really, they are. And it becomes as a collector, no matter what, it's expensive. It's hard to keep up.
Tell me about it.
It really is. So I don't I mean, these guys are buying cases. Like I guess those who are still well employed, who haven't been affected by the pandemic, who didn't get laid off or didn't get furloughed or, you know, whatever the case may be, I guess business is still usable for them. So like that, so they can go out and buy multiple cases. I saw like Adam, he bought like, I don't know how many cases, he bought like what, 5 cases of Chrome.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I'm like, wow. Yeah, Kate. And I'm like, wow. I mean, like, you know, but who can afford to do that? I mean, very few.
Like the Transcendent stuff we talked about before, you know.
Who can afford to do that, period? I don't care if there was a good economy or not. Who the hell can afford to drop 15K?
They sold them out.
Yeah, well, of course they did. And that's all that really matters to Topps is that if it leaves their warehouse or distributors' warehouses, it's a sellout for them.
Yeah.
This is why that, you know, years ago, like, hey, maybe we can find some way to get some sponsorships from Topps or TriStar or whoever it was at the time that was handling licensings, and they can maybe want to advertise with us for WTC to help fund it. They don't give a rat's ass. They don't care. Because as long as it goes to distributors, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Speaking of Topps, I told Chuck yesterday, I finally do have a potential contact from Topps that I'm hoping to have on an episode here pretty soon.
Awesome.
So we're looking to connect sometime after the first of the year and hopefully have some cool episode about it. So once I can confirm a date and time with this person, I'll be reaching out to people for, hey, do you have any particular questions you want to ask like that? And maybe we can get them answered.
Nice.
So turns out he's an important guy over there apparently. So hope to have it done soon.
Awesome.
And I'm kind of hoping that once the AEW, so like I'm actually looking for someone at Upper Deck to talk to about that right now. Like to get some insight on that maybe.
Definitely.
And then we've got.
I hope they throw something unique and collectible in it since it's their debut set. I hope they do something just different that they're not going to put in future sets. Just something.
What would it be? What will something like that be? What hasn't been done yet?
I don't know what it would be, but I'm just kind of referencing like Undisputed did with their very first set with those fist cards. You know, just something unique to set off the set from the rest of them that come out. I don't know what it would be, but
I know. You remember how AJ had her teddy bear card? Maybe
yeah.
Maybe we can have Orange Cassidy do a little denim vest card or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just throw some orange juice on it. And
Yeah, exactly.
The Mimosa match.
There you go. So, you know, it's still exciting times with wrestling cards right now, still going strong. Whether you're in it to invest or to collect, there's still a lot going on right now. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, I think, and which I'm excited about that. More eyes on the product is a great thing.
And the fact that we are able as a group to get together and chat about these things and talk about the hobby. We've assembled a nice group of guys that sort of know this all ends of it. And I don't know, like I read a tweet one day where someone had said that he was tired of baseball, but he was enjoying hanging out with the wrestling community because of the way we were. And I said, yeah, because we're not guarded against each other. We're open with each other and we dig each other's company. And we like
sure, yeah.
So we've created a nice little community. And Tony, again, I've said it before, it's a lot of your doing, making these videos and tying us all together because we went for many, many years without any of us you know, we knew each other's names, but we couldn't talk this way. We couldn't share. So now that we're all on Twitter, now that we're doing this, I think we've done a great little thing here, and
I
it'll
think
help.
over the years before these videos, like I think you and I spoke on the phone maybe two
Sure.
times, one or two
And
times.
Chuck and I communicated often, but never like this.
Yeah.
Right. So
Always been through email.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine finding Grim and then getting him on here?
I'd like you to get Anthony on, but good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I
'cause
was
he's
just
got a wealth of knowledge on that stuff. You know?
I was just talking to Chuckster yesterday, privately yesterday. Like, I just keep. I've been so preoccupied the last month, obviously with the holidays. I had surgery stuff, so I had a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, he's definitely on my list. Like, I really want to get him on an episode. I really want to talk to him and have him
I
share
don't know what
his
he looks
knowledge.
like. I've been dealing with the guy for been dealing with the guy for 10 years and we've never seen face to face.
It's like, yeah, neither have I. I've only spoke to him on the phone once.
Yeah.
when I was looking to sell all my singles at one time. But
Same
we
with
never.
Graham. I mentioned to you, I never met Graham in person. Never even spoke to him like you did.
Yeah, God.
We made a book together.
Yeah, made a book together, and he never even spoke to the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's really no thoughts of a second book, right?
No.
Yeah, we were just going over this yesterday too. We were going because I just, mine are still unopened.
Yeah, I haven't gotten my Beckett yet, but I'm quite anxious to get a look at it.
I know that Chuckster was going through it. Says he was having a good time going through his yesterday, and I haven't even gone through opened them yet. They're still wrapped.
Yeah,
But
no,
I got them. But
looking
I picked
forward
up the
to it.
wrestling guy store.
Maybe I might learn something.
Maybe. I'm interested in knowing where the editor for this is. What I'm looking to get him on as well.
Yeah, he'd be a good person.
And
to
so
they did a really good job actually listing all the insert sets too for the sets. They didn't have like the set and then 2 pages later the insert for that. So they grouped it all together for a change.
So
they did miss a lot of pricing. Like if they didn't know a pricing thing, they would just leave it blank. So, but at least you had the checklist. Now they omitted some things, like for instance, I know the TNA Glory, there's like, I think it's 18 on-card autographs and they only list about 10. I know for a fact there's a lot more than that. And so, there's some things that they've omitted, but at least they've made reference that it exists. They just don't have the complete updated list.
Now,
and some of it is so hard to find, there's no way they could have priced it.
Over the years, Topps puts out these checklists, but then the sets come out and what actually gets released and what ends up at Walmart and Target, quite a bit different than the checklist. And then we might get
Fleer had that problem too.
Yeah, so we might get a checklist and might have a dozen autographs, but in actual fact, only 10 came out or maybe 15 came out.
Sure.
So Chuck and I have done a very nice job, not recently, going back like the last 20 years over everything and sort of calling Topps on, this is your official checklist, but in actual fact, here's what the real checklist is.
Sure.
Here's what made it out into the real world. And Chuck and I have done that often. Hey, are you aware that there's I think one was the Kurt Angle impact? And we deduced, no, despite the fact that they say there is one, there isn't one. And on and on. We filled in a lot of these holes to make the hobby more accurate. So
of course, and it's important to do that. It's the whole reason why WTC was really founded to begin with, because it's to archive things and correct the wrongs.
Right.
And a lot of times you got to do it when you can, because the turnover rate for some of these companies, if they're still around, is kind of high sometimes. Like someone like my contacts from the early 2000s doesn't work there anymore.
Right.
So who do I talk to now? Like when I want to get information like that, I have to reestablish a relationship with someone who goes, well, that's before my time. I really didn't do stuff back then.
If the set comes out and it's wrong, right? By the time we figure out, okay, this is an actual fact, what got released into the real world, another set's come out.
Sure.
Right. So it's impossible to be 100% accurate, but we've done a nice job.
I think we have, as a community, we've done a very good jobs like that.
So, going back over the years and filling in some of the mistakes, and Chuck in particular, because he's the master archivist in my mind. We've done a good job of keeping this stuff straight, so everybody else out there has a pretty good record or reference of what they can.
Oh, I know who to go to when I need information on certain aspects like that. If I need more modern stuff, I come to Chuckster. If I need more vintage stuff, I'm going to Rob England. So it's good. Well, guys, it's been fun.
Wish you guys both a Merry Christmas. Chuck,
wish you a Merry Christmas as well.
Holidays.
Merry
Tony,
Christmas,
happy
everybody.
holidays to your family.
Yep.
Hope
You guys
have
try and stay out of trouble, and we'll try and do something again after the first of the year. How's that?
Yeah, these are fun. We're here whenever you need us.
Hey, come here,
Tony. All
buddy.
the best.
Come here. Come and say hi. Come say Merry Christmas to those guys. Say bye-bye, everybody.
Oh, cool. Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas, young man.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. All right.
To all the wrestling card collectors out there, all the
Yep.
best, everybody. All the
It's
best.
a future collector right here. He's already got his first set of cards.
All
Awesome.
right.
Yeah. Can you say bye-bye? Okay.
Bye.
All right, buddy.
All right, Chuck. Take care, buddy.
Talk to you guys soon,
Good luck,
okay?
guys. Take care.
All right.
Talk to you
All
later.
right.